So, Brian, we start out with tough questions about leadership on this podcast. Talk to me about Billy Beane, this hero leader character in this movie. What is Billy Beane's leadership superpower and why?
Awesome. We love this conversation. I will assert that Billy Beane starts the movie with one leadership superpower, and in the course of the movie has to develop a very important second one. So at the beginning of the movie, as we talked about in our last episode, he's in sort of a dire situation. He doesn't have the money to compete head to head with the wealthiest teams in the league, and he's just lost all his best players. And so he's sort of forced into a fairly desperate situation as a GM. And as we talked about in the last episode, the thing that he does very skillfully, the leadership superpower that he deploys over and over again, right up front, is the one that we call vision. He is able to zoom out from his local situation, his immediate problem, and recontextualize it, right? So in the scene with the scouts, he's challenging him, like, the problem is not that we have to replace the best leadoff hitter that we had. The problem is not that we have to replace 120 RBIs. The problem is not that we have to find find another first baseman. The problem is that we have less money than the other teams do. And so we have to be doing something differently. So this zooming out that far and reframing the conversation as this is an unfair game and we can't play the same recruiting strategy, the same strategy to fill our team with players, is what opens him to the idea of, like, oh, this crazy statistics kid who was whispering in somebody's ear in this other meeting that I had, I'm going to go talk to him. Like, what are you doing? Like, wow, that's a new way of looking at the world. Like, he's open to revolutionizing the way he does the job because he's committed to the big picture of, like, I need to win games. I want to win the World Series. But he's not actually committed to the mechanics. He's like, I'm totally open to blowing stuff up if it'll work better. And that's because he understands what game he's playing, which is like, I have a different challenge than the GM of the Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
So he uses that very effectively, and he uses that skill over and over again when he's talking to his players, when he's talking to when he's talking to the owner, when he's talking to the scouts, when he's trying to explain, like, what the strategy is and how it's going to work. He's very good at recontextualizing, like, okay, even during the course of the season, when some things work and some things don't, he's like, oh, okay, I guess this isn't working. These players are maybe need to be traded. These other players are not, working out the way I thought. Oh, I actually want this other thing. We see him doing a really good job of this high level vision of where super clear, where do I want to go? How do all the pieces fit together? We talked a lot in the last episode about making the individual trades, the individual plays add up to something coherent and not just try to win each trade, but try to win the overall result of the trades. But that's only half the story, right?
Yeah, because he starts out with this great, you can tell he's a visionary, right? He's more concerned with the future and the ideas of a thing than he is with the mechanics of a thing, which is a telltale sign of a visionary. So what does he do, though, throughout the movie? Because at the beginning, that visionary trait helps him, but it also hurts him. If not combined with other leadership superpowers, put another way, you don't actually achieve the full outcome.
Well, yeah, and this is I think a lot of our experience. If you try to revolutionize something inside an organization, if you try to change the way that everybody's working, if you try to change the goals and measure them in new ways and put new people in roles that they aren't comfortable with, like, what always happens inevitably in that case, of course, is that everything goes perfectly the first time and it's very smooth and you succeed right out of the gate and win the World Series, right?
Of course.
No, this never happens. 0% of the time does a revolution work seamlessly from day zero, right? And so what we see in the first half of this movie is that he puts this land of misfit toys together, and the players themselves are kind of a pirate's crew of people who are sort of loosey-goosey and sort of in different levels of maturity. The scouts don't understand it to the point where he has to fire the head scout. The coach, the manager, super doesn't understand it, like fights him tooth and nail the entire way. And what happens is they lose a whole bunch of games, right? Like, they are the worst team in baseball for like the first 30 games of the season, or like that. Super not working. Everybody looks like idiots. He looks like an idiot. They want to fire him. The sabermetrics revolution is clearly not taking over the world, right? And again, he manages to zoom out and sort of, realize, like, okay, well, the thing that's happened, what's going on here is that we put the pieces in place, but they're not actually interacting with each other the way that they need to. Like, it's not working. So he does two things. One of the things that he does is he doubles down. He's like, all right, manager's not playing the players that I want him to play. I'm going to trade away all of the people that he likes better, all of the slightly better first basemen that don't get on bases often. I'm going to do all of that so that we have to do it my way. Right. So he doubles down on his strategy. He doubles down on this is either going to work or I'm going to be a 44-year-old guy with a high school diploma who just got fired. Right. But then the second thing that he does is much more impactful and much more work. And this we get in a series of kind of training montages and stuff, is that he gets down to ground level himself. And he starts to develop the superpower of compassion. And we talk about this one a lot on WonderTour too, and it seems a little touchy-feely and a little bit Disney for baseball or for business leaders. But the challenge that he has at the beginning, he has a little monologue to Pete about, well, I don't travel with the players. I don't hang out with the players. I don't form relationships with them because I might have to fire them someday. Like, I stay, I don't even go to the game. I don't even watch the games, right? Like, he's super putting walls up between himself and his team, and it's not working. Right. And so the second thing that he does was he starts to develop his skills of compassion is like he starts actually talking to the players. He starts getting them on board with this is what we're trying to do. Like, this is the what we're trying to accomplish. This is the way we have to play the game. This is what success is going to look like for us. This is how you fit in and why I picked you random misfit toy off of the street to be my relief pitcher. Like all of this stuff. And I love that. I love that part of this movie where it's like, these are humans. They are not objects. They are subjects. They are people. And they don't get on base because they go stand at the they go stand at the plate and magically 32% of the time they go stand at first base. Like it doesn't just happen by them standing there. They have to do things, and they're going to be much better at doing the things if they understand what they're trying to do and why and how it fits into the bigger picture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so when we come back, let's talk more about how we balance the numbers and the people, because that's really the story of Billy Beane. He can see how the numbers are going to work, but now we have to figure out how to actually implement that transformative change in the minds of the people that we work with.